Suffering does not begin in the world around us. It begins in the mind. The Buddha taught that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional, because suffering is what the mind adds to pain. When we experience a difficult moment, the mind creates stories, fears, expectations, and judgments that turn simple discomfort into deep internal suffering. Mindfulness is the practice of seeing clearly, recognizing these stories, and freeing ourselves from the mental habits that intensify our pain. When we observe our mind with awareness, the suffering loses its power, and we return to the peace that has always been available within. The mind creates suffering when it clings to the past. We replay old memories, believing that what happened before defines who we are today. Mindfulness teaches us to see that the past exists only as thoughts. When we sit quietly, breathing slowly and gently, we recognize that the present moment is untouched by old wounds. The breath becomes a doorway into freedom, reminding us that healing begins not by changing the past, but by letting go of the stories we keep telling ourselves. The mind creates suffering when it fears the future. Anxiety is the habit of living in moments that have not yet arrived. The Buddha said that worry is like carrying a heavy burden you were never asked to lift. When we practice mindfulness, we bring our attention back to this breath, this step, this moment. We realize that the present is peaceful, stable, and generous. It provides everything we need: clarity, stillness, and strength. The more we ground ourselves in presence, the less power fear has over our lives. The mind creates suffering through attachment. We cling to people, outcomes, expectations, and identities, hoping they will give us permanent happiness. But everything changes, everything ends. Mindfulness helps us recognize impermanence, not as something sad, but as something beautiful. The breath comes and goes. Thoughts appear and fade. Emotions rise and fall. When we stop resisting impermanence, we stop suffering. We learn to enjoy each moment as it is, without demanding that it stay forever. The mind creates suffering through self-judgment. We criticize ourselves, compare ourselves, and believe we are not enough. Mindfulness invites us to see ourselves with compassion. Instead of fighting our flaws, we greet them with kindness. Instead of punishing ourselves for past mistakes, we allow them to become teachers. The Buddha said, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." When we treat ourselves gently, the inner critic grows quiet and a softer, more loving voice emerges. Mindfulness does not erase pain. It transforms our relationship with it. Instead of drowning in emotions, we learn to observe them. Instead of reacting impulsively, we respond with clarity. Instead of being controlled by our thoughts, we understand that thoughts are just clouds passing through the sky of awareness. When suffering rises, we simply notice it, breathe with it, and let it go. Nothing lasts forever. Not joy, not pain, not fear, not sadness. Everything changes, and that change sets us free. When we practice mindfulness daily, even for just 5 minutes, we begin to recognize the patterns of suffering before they take over. We notice tension in the body, tightness in the breath, or heaviness in the heart, and we pause. We breathe deeply. We return to the present moment. Over time, the mind becomes quieter, softer, and more spacious. Awareness replaces reactivity. Peace replaces chaos. Compassion replaces judgment. The power of mindfulness lies in its simplicity. You do not need to escape life to heal. You simply need to see it clearly. The next time your mind creates suffering, pause and ask yourself, is this real, or is this just a thought? That question alone can open a doorway to liberation. Suffering begins in the mind, but peace also begins there. With mindfulness, every moment becomes an opportunity to return home to yourself. Every breath becomes a reminder that peace is not something you chase, it is something you choose. And when you choose presence, you choose freedom.